chat, yeah. And we can attend them later. So Martin Alonso from Stay True Organic is not with us today, from the publishers of this new book, new and old book, new in Spanish. The book Farms of Tomorrow which is a book that has already been published a couple of decades ago in English, but is now available in Spanish. Farms of Tomorrow, written by Trogger Grow and Stephen McFadden. And today we are celebrating that this book has been translated into Spanish and is now available for the Spanish-speaking world. And I'm giving the introduction today because Martin could not make it from Stay True. So also on his behalf, I welcome everybody and also just give a little introduction to our celebration really today and our discussion that we will have. Today we have one of the authors, Stephen McFadden, with us. And Stephen McFadden has, well, we will hear a little bit about the process of how this book came into the world. But Stephen, as I understand, is a journalist, and this is one of his themes that he documents is the issue of CSAs, community-supported farms, and in general, the development of community farms in the world, because now we can say that this is really a global movement, CSAs. And of course, we will hear a lot more from Stephen about this, but really it is an honor for him to be here today. And although Trogger Grow is not with us in this physical plane, he has since passed away a number of years ago, but he is with us in spirit, and so we also welcome him, and hopefully also his wife. I don't know if she was able to join us today, or is Alice here? Alice, are you with us? Okay, we'll see if she's able to join us at some point.
Elizabeth, mi esposa.
And Elizabeth is here, okay. So Stephen's wife is also here to join us. Wonderful. And Tobias Merlo, he will be facilitating our discussion today. I guess present myself too. I'm Alex Edelson. I have lived many years in Argentina, although I was born and raised in Indonesia. I have since half a year ago, I moved back to Indonesia, but lived many years in Argentina, where in 2009, I founded, together with a group of people, a CSA called Granja Valle Pintado, Painted Valley Farm. And today we are also joined by Tobias Merlo, who is part of the young and hopeful youth movement and people involved with what could be the future of CSA in Argentina today. Yeah, Tobias has a couple of years ago, with a wonderful group of people, founded a CSA, and I think one of the exciting things about the CSA format too is its the possibilities of innovation, yeah, and in what we would call social art, yeah, where really when a group of people come together with a shared vision and each have many different talents, so much as possible. And I see that also in Tobias's work and the group of people working in epicos, which is the farm and sort of organization involved in the development of this community farm. So we will hear from a little bit of all of us today, but I just wanted to give this little introduction so everybody knows who we are. And again, thanks Alejo, who is translating simultaneously into Spanish, yeah? Aprovecho una vez más a decir, quienes se están sumando no entienden nada del inglés y quieren pasar a una interpretación en vivo en español, pasan al canal de abajo, pueden encontrar, creo que en los 3 puntos tiene que haber un botón de interpretación y ahí pasan al canal de español, ¿sí? So, I will pass the word on to Tobias to help us get this discussion going today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm very happy of being here. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Alex. I would like to introduce Alex also. I think he is the pioneer of the CSI in Argentina. He made the first CSI in Patagonia, and 2 years ago, I with my team, I was thinking in doing a collaborative, a community farm, but we don't know how to do it. So someone sent me, call Alex, that I think he sent me, he's a poet of the land. And so I So I called him and he said me, yes, it does exist. The method it called CSI. And 1 month later, we rent a land in Buenos Aires. We started, and now we have a awesome community of 80 families that every month we are in contact. We are in the land together. We make a lot of things that today we can explain. And so thank you, Alex, for the initiative and the first message. And Alex, okay, we are going to talk a lot about Alex and Stephen. We were talking some minutes ago that in Argentina, it doesn't exist the CSI term, or is not common. I think I have all my life working in agriculture and in environmental sciences, and I never listened CSI until I meet Alex. So I think this meeting is really important because we have the possibility to give this message and give the knowledge of Stephen and of Elizabeth of how we can make a CSI that works. How is this? What is the secret? I know that Stephen have that secret and Elizabeth have that secret. So the thing we have to do today in community is to try to learn from Alex that have done it in El Bolsón, and from Stephen that, okay, he's the writer of the book in the world of CSI and community supported farms. So let's start.
Tobias?
Yes.
I also think it's good that we recognize among the people that have joined us today. Well, one, I see that Alice is here. Alice Grow, welcome. It's an honor that you could be here. This is Trauger Grow's wife. So welcome to Alice.
Thank you.
Also, there you are. Wonderful to see you. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Stephen.
We also have Juan Nahuel Warroquier, who is also today involved with, who has founded a CSA in the last year. Welcome to him. Claudia is from Brazil. She is also one of the pioneers of CSA in Brazil. So we also have, I'm sure there are many other people in this group with vast experience or getting started. So hopefully we can also find time in this discussion that all these wonderful people who have joined us in this celebration today will have a moment to also to hear from them. So
Yes,
Tobias.
of course. Thank you, all of them. So before talking about community-supported farms, I would like to understand like the problem that a concept such as community support farm seeks to solve. Yes, what is the problem that this concept want to solve? Because we are not talking, I think, and I'm convinced that we are not talking about only about agriculture. We are talking about a new humanity. So, Stephen, okay, first let me read some words of Stephen that are here in the book that reach us to this problem. Why it does CSA exist? So Stephen says in the page 180.
Traeger and Stephen, both of us.
Traeger and Stephen said, but if you apply the same industrial economic thinking that is fine for building cars, if you apply it to life, to growing food, to working with nature, or to healthcare or education, it won't work. It brings distraction. What we need, they said, is another way of thinking, another approach. Our big problem is not agriculture. We know how to grow organic food. Our problem is the social and economic structure of the world. If we go on like this, we are going to destroy our forests, our waters, and our children's. And then in another page, they say, the most basic need of all earthly life, that is food, can provide the starting point for moving from our current market economy based on competition to an independent associative economy based on the needs of consumers and on conscious and rational decisions between producers and consumers.
That's
so
it.
the food in the center. So Stephen,
Yes.
Okay.
what you can share with us thinking in this that you and Troger wrote?
Yes. Well, it is an honor to have the book translated into Spanish, and it's an honor to be invited to share with you. I'm so glad Alice is here. It's been many years since I have seen her, and I know she'll add a lot to the discussion. I want to say around, the problems CSA may be addressing, well, certainly we have all kinds of models of the way people produce food from the land over the thousands of years. And in our era, of course, there's industrial agriculture with all of its attendant issues. And at least here in the United States, I don't know in Argentina, but the decline of the family farm, it just became too difficult for a man and a woman, a couple and their family to make it economically farming, whereas in decades earlier that was possible. It really isn't now. And so Traeger really is the one who introduced me to the idea. I was a newspaper reporter in the area and came to know him and Alice and the other farmers of the Temple Wilton Community Farm, and I knew instantly that what Trager was talking about was important, because I could see the problems from industrial agriculture. I won't go through outlining them now. I imagine most people are already familiar with them. But in terms of the farmers, who I consider are ambassadors to the earth, because they touch the earth for those of us who do not, the idea that we as the people, the community, come together and support them so that they can perform their beautiful work. I know Trager often spoke of it in a priestly manner, as if the farmers, in a sense, were mitigating between the sky and the earth, the heavens and the earth. And certainly with biodynamics, that's very much a conscious process. And so CSA, as a social movement, has in fact, not just from our book, but from many influences, become a worldwide movement with representation at the United Nations and all. So I could go on at great length, but I want to pass the baton to Alice and ask her to speak, because she has been so deeply involved for decades. Alice, would you share with us?
Happily, yes. Thank you for having me here and for bringing this group together. One very simple thing is that with a CSA, the farmers grow for that group of people, and they get to know what do those people want? What do they want to eat, and how much? So it's what Rudolf Steiner called an association of producers and consumers. They're not producing for an anonymous market. They're not saying, oh, what can I sell for the highest price? And I don't know who wants to buy it, but I'll put it out there and maybe I'll sell it, or that I have to start advertising and create a market for my things. That in CSA, that's not how it is. There's this group and there's the farmer, and they talk together and they grow for what this group needs. It's a very enclosed, strong partnership. So it's, I think, oh, thank you. Thank you, Nettie. It's very important that we talk to each other and only grow for what is needed. So there's no extra waste. There's no, oh, I didn't sell it this week at the farmer's market, so what do I do with it? Throw it away or give it to the pigs? Or that's not a bad thing to do, by the way, but okay. But that we know what our needs are. That's one thing. The second thing is that more and more it is not the case, especially in the United States, that people live near a farm. We tend to separate our farm into a different place. But if we can have a farm in our community, it gives us more than just food. It is a place to bring our children, and they can learn so many things. The Chauga once gave a lecture, a talk at a teacher's conference, and the talk was called "The Farm as the Teacher of Humanity." And the farm teaches us so many things about, how to use our resources in a good way, how to be responsible. If we take care of animals, we have to be there every day, whether we like it or don't like it, whether it's Christmas or it's whatever it is, we have to be there. There's so many things that we can learn from being responsible for a farm. So to have a farm in one's community is a great gift. And the more people can come and visit it and be part of it. Yeah, we never said you have to come and work on the farm. That was more difficult than it was worth because, sometimes we had big harvest times and they would come and help dig the potatoes or pull the carrots. We do that, but only when we're really willing and able to deal with a group of people. Otherwise, it's just extra work for the farmers to try and deal with people coming and going. But we did so many things together. At the beginning, all of our families, not all, most of our families had young children. So we would come together and we would celebrate festivals together. So we came together at least 4 or 5 times a year, and we would celebrate the festival of that season. And Traugo would talk to us about biodynamics, talk to us about our social interactions. So we were constantly having food for thought as well as food for our bodies. And that builds community with one another. Do we get to know one another? Who are we? What do we need? What do we want? I hope this is all being translated. I'm trying to, are you getting simultaneous translation? Is that how it's working? Okay, good.
Yes, Alice.
Yeah, good.
Well, I wanted to mention, Alice, you
The
reminded me
translation is very, very good.
Oh, great. I'm glad to
way
hear that.
back in the beginning, Lincoln Geiger, who was the dairyman for the farm that Alice and Trauger were part of, he said to me that if you go out to a farm field and look across it and then pay attention to your inner response, you as a consumer, as a visitor to the farm, it's encouraging. Literally, it builds courage within you. It feeds your courage to see the beauty of the growing things.
Yes.
And I know from my own experience, ever since he said that to me, when I visit a farm, I always take a moment to just be still and to drink in the energy of the farm, the growing things and the animals. And it does strengthen the core of our being. I think that's so important. I don't know the politics in Argentina, but here in the USA, we're in a very upsetting time, and a lot of systems are being rapidly dismantled. So the need for courage and a clear vision of where one might go is increasingly important. And having a farm around is so important. I think participating in a CSA really can add to the sense of stability that people have as we move through this era of transition.
Yeah, at the beginning of the agriculture course, people were asking Dr. Rudolf Steiner, we are seeing that the quality of the food stuffs and the health of the animals is going down. And what can we do? And that was what started the agriculture course. But someone asked him a question. Dr. Steiner, you have given so much to people of what they can do to develop themselves inwardly and spiritually, but we see so little results. Why is that? He said, it's a problem of nutrition, that the food does not contain the forces anymore that helps people come from their thought life, from their ideals down into their will, so they can actually do things. We can't quite do what we want to do. And that's a problem of nutrition. Now, I think we all know that if people only eat processed food, we call it junk food. If they eat bad food all the time, they cannot think clearly, and they usually cannot get things done that they want to get done. It really matters that we have high quality nutrition. So it is helpful in a community if people can come together and say, we want this. We want high quality nutrition for our families, for our friends, and we will take responsibility that this farm can exist. That's really what the CSA model was about. That these people said, we will stand for this. We will make sure that this place comes into being, that it's healthy, and that our farmers are supported so that they can do the work that they need to do without looking down the row of carrots and saying, oh, if I sell this for 35 cents and this, and they don't have to think about that. They're not growing for the market. They're doing their very best to grow the highest quality food for all of us, because we have said, we will cover your costs. We will make sure that you are all right and that you can do your work in the very best way that you know how. So that's how it started.
That's
And then-
beautiful, Alice. Thank you. Yes, he put the food in the center, and Troger said the same thing. The food, like the possibility to start a new humanity. So here in Argentina, we are an agriculture country with a lot of hungry, lot of problems, and it seems like without logic. Alex, you know a lot about Argentina. You started a CSA in Argentina. So then we're going to pass to talk more about what is a CSA, because here is a lot of people that don't know what is, because in Argentina it's not a common concept. But Alex, the CSA, why you started a CSA? What problems can solve
Alex.
a CSA?
Great. Thanks, Tobias. I guess before I go about, what I saw and what we did in Argentina, maybe tell you too, I mean, I was born and raised in Indonesia, and I went as a university student to the US, and I was on the East Coast of the US. And actually, my first experience of the CSA was as a member of a CSA, also a CSA from the early days, which is Kimberton Hills Biodynamic Farm. So I would say, and just as Alice said, that's how biodynamics came to me. I first consumed its products. And I supported a CSA, being myself a consumer. Shortly thereafter, I moved to Argentina. And as a young man in my early 20s, I actually found that Argentina was a very exciting place as far as social innovation. Maybe paradoxically, because of Argentina's almost spasmodic, I don't know how you translate that, Alejo, but like very chaotic economic process. This has created a certain resilience in the people into creating social structures. And to me, this was what people were doing was very interesting. I had moved to El Bolson, which is a town in Patagonia. And at that time, 2001, I hadn't moved yet. 2001, I had gone to visit. They had developed a barter economy where people were printing currencies because due to the financial meltdown, people were then bringing economy to a very tangible place. Yeah. And this is where I said, well, this is where I want to stay. So this was the situation that I was in. And then, in my 20s, of course, I came across this book. And as I became more involved in biodynamic agriculture, I have the book in the original in English, first edition, but it's the revisited version. And as you can see, it's a little bit tattered, but I'm now in Indonesia, and I carry this book with me because in those days, this book was not yet available in Spanish. In fact, there was very little material in Spanish around those years, 2003, that I moved to Argentina. Until 2009 was a period in which I was involved in the development also of a Waldorf school at that time. And it was there too that we were talking about the ideas of Rudolf Steiner's ideas of associative economics. And I myself was beginning as a farmer. And to me, what really, I think, gave inspiration, among the most powerful ideas that is written in this book is that farming can be really a creative process, yeah? And I think what the CSA model provides is it gives you flexibility to understand that, okay, you don't have to be as a farmer owner of your land. You don't have to be as a farmer even, you don't have to raise the capital yourself to start your farm, yeah? As long as you have the talent and the will to work as a farmer, and you have a community that sees this ability in you,
That's
and
important.
yes, that then your task is to feed the community and also to take care of the land. In fact, this is one term, you know, if we talk about transforming the consumer, in Argentina, we were using the word prosumer too, as a way of, this is part of the slight shift that we thought was important in transforming, that everybody can be involved in the process of transforming economy, and especially food economy, yeah. So shifting the consumer to a prosumer, proactive, yeah, that everybody is involved, that this isn't just a farming problem, that, oh, I wish there were more organic farmers. Okay, well, everybody has to eat 3 times a day at least. So just like we worry about, you know, well, who is my doctor? Who will I go to if my tooth hurts? Who is your farmer? You should be more concerned every day about your farmer. And if we're eating well, we don't need doctors. The first doctor is the farmer, yeah? So this is a question that should really involve everybody. Everybody should be involved in relating to their farmer, relating to their farms. And as Alice said, you know, the farm as a cultural space too. You know, how can we bring it really into the hearts of our society? Seeing that in the past, there was this sort of rural exploitation, this shift towards the cities, people moving away from the country towards the cities, and the countryside being exploited, really. I think that the CSA brings this shift of, from the populated areas, beginning to think of, well, where is my food coming from now? And bringing the farm back into our hearts. This is a revolutionary shift that is so necessary too. And so going back to this idea that what I found so powerful in this book really was land, capital, work could be transformed, that a group of creative people with different talents can really bring forward this transformation. You know, and this is really it's a social art, and I think that the CSA creates space for innovation too. It's not a recipe that's got to be done in this or that way. It can be adapted to any culture. It can be adapted to any situation, as long as we understand in this associative economic way of seeing who are the human beings that are coming together in this process, yeah, in this economic process, and moving beyond this impersonal market, you know, as Alice also said in the beginning, you know, if really the problem is a market that's impersonal, where we don't know who's receiving the products, the fruits of our efforts as farmers, and there is a price in between, and that price has to do with so many factors that go beyond really what we can understand. So once we bring prosumers and farmers together, we can move beyond this impersonal market space and engage on a personal level, even karmically, if you will, our relationships and really understand what it is that we need. And I'm not only talking about food, right? In a CSA, we have people who come together who are lawyers, who are teachers, and all those people also have the space to participate in this social process. And that's really what is so enriching.
I'd like
So
to
do you,
add that.
do you want to talk about either Stephen or me, the actual, how did we do it? You know, on a yearly basis?
Yes,
I'd
that
love
would
to hear
be.
you speak on that. Alice, I just wanted to interject that in the beginning, as Trager and I were meeting and talking, you know, he said that we're not describing a finished product. This is an experiment. And still, even now, 25, 35 years later, CSA is still growing and there are different models. One trend in the USA that I have always found disturbing is that a lot of organizations promoted CSA as a new marketing model. So basically putting everything back on the farmers and saying, you grow it and you sell it, and you will sell it in this defined community. And so it's looked upon as a marketing strategy rather than a community strategy. So, you know, getting started in the beginning, the Temple Wilton Community Farm, they had their own way and their own process. And Alice, I know, can speak to that from direct experience.
Yeah,
I just,
before-
sorry,
oh,
I want to
okay.
interject for those who don't know, Temple Wilton Farm, founded by Alice and Trager, and I'm sure a couple of other people, Alice, you'll tell us, is one of the first CSAs in the US.
Yes,
Yes, and we're going into our 39th season and we're still going.
okay, so before knowing the history of this the first CSA in United States, Alice or Stephen, here are a lot of people that is the first time they heard the concept of community supported farms. So you visit a lot of farms in United States. So I think it is no way to define the CSA, but I think you can approach to a definition of what is a community supported farm for the people that is the first time they listen that concept.
Well, I can just tell you what we did and our situation. It will be different in every community, but here is how it went. Trager came, we met in the autumn of 1984 and we got married in the autumn of 1985. And we were wondering, well, how should we do this? He had the farming skills, he had also social skills. And we said, what shall we do? If we want a biodynamic farm here, we need to find people who also want this. So we found, there were like 28 families, and we sat together and said, what do you want? We want a farm that will give us vegetables and milk and eggs and, you know, some meat and, you know, all these things. And he said, that's fine. But I tell you, you need to want the farm, not just the produce. I'm not going to grow vegetables for you and you're late on your way home and you stop at the supermarket and get your vegetables there instead. That's not okay. You have to want the farm and you have to feel responsible that the farm exists and that things go well with it. So we had many, many conversations with everybody. And then what we decided, all right, yeah, I could tell you how they did it in Germany, but they worked with a bank and we don't usually have that. So I'll spare you that story. But we said, all right, The farmers need to come up with a budget. What will it cost to run this farm for 1 year? Just 1 year, one season, 1 year, not just the growing season, the whole year. And that has to include everything, the personal costs, anything we need to buy in at the time, or animal feed at the beginning, all sorts of things, absolutely everything. So you need to think it through very thoroughly. What does it take to do this? So you're already starting from a good inward place, because you have to spread your consciousness out over the farm and throughout the year. What do we need to do? And what will that cost? And Trago always called the budget the footprint of our intentions. The footprint of our intentions. Everything that we want to do has to have a line item in the budget. If it's not in the budget, we're not doing it. We can't do it. So you really need to think it through. What do we want to do? You can see this year we're buying these seeds and we have these many cows, and if we need to buy hay, or we think we might, or machines that need repair, everything. So Trago had lots of experience in making budgets, so that was helpful. And he worked with Lincoln Geiger, the herdsman, and Anthony Graham, who eventually grew all of our vegetables for us. He's now 74 years old, and he just had his last season this last year. Fantastic vegetables, unbelievable. But that's what we did. We pulled together a budget, and then we had 2 meetings. The first meeting was about the budget, and we all sat together, and the farmers explained, this is what's in the budget. This is what we want to do. We want to do this, we want to do that, and you have told us that you want us to grow this and this and this and this, and this is how it is. Do we all understand? Do you have questions? Do you have better ideas or suggestions? And till we got to the point that we understood the budget. And then the next meeting was what we called the pledge meeting. And in the beginning, we all sat in a circle, and we out loud in front of everyone said, the Grow family will give this many dollars every month. And the McFadden family will give this, and Lincoln Geiger, the Geiger family will do this, and this family will do that. And we did not care if Stephen gave a lot and our family gave a little. We did not care. We did not have to give the same amount. There was no set amount. The important thing was that we covered the budget. So we went around, and Anthony would write it all down, oh, they give this and they give that. And he would do the mathematics and add it up. And he would tell us, we've met the budget, or no, we have not met the budget. We have to go around again and ask everyone to give a little bit more. So later on, we had other ways of bringing in money. We had processed goods that we could sell to the public, like cheese and quark and eggs, but we didn't have that at the beginning. So this was it. This group had to come up with the budget. And finally, when we finally covered the budget, we said, good, now the season can begin. So the farmers knew that all their costs were covered before they even planted the first seed. And that is a completely different attitude, a completely different soul condition than going out, oh, I don't know what I'm going to be able to sell, and oh, what's going to happen. I mean, you don't know the weather, of course, but the costs of the farm for 1 year are covered. And you trust that these people say they're going to give this money, and they, and hope that they do. We mostly have not had much problems with that, but sometimes, and sometimes people's lives change and they lose their job or something happens, but mostly we've been able to carry people. So, and we only ask that people pledge for 1 year. That's all, just 1 year at a time, because life is full of changes. And yeah, people can
Yeah,
only
the
time they can-
metaphor that we used, Alice, because we worked in a very similar way. Yeah, we had our what we call the asamblea de arranque, the getting going assembly,
Yeah.
where we did it all in one though. The budget, understand the budget, and now let's pledge.
And we do that now also, just one meeting. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But there is so much behind this too, you know, and I think I just like to bring also an important idea to this too, that really is how this is fits together with biodynamic agriculture from what is a central idea in biodynamic agriculture of the farm as a living organism. I think this is also a social economic model that accompanies, right? Is also paraphrasing what you're saying, right? That in a way the farmer, once he or she knows their task, and their task is caring for the farm organism and feeding the community. That this is really the most authentic model, that the farmer isn't looking at, you know, the need to go to a market space to sell this or that, and that this allows the farmer to be as authentic as possible in his or her task in nurturing this farm organism. And in this sense, one of the shifts that we tried to do in Argentina too, as I said earlier, this shift from consumer to prosumer, in Argentina, a word that's often used for a farmer is productor or producer. Yeah, so we tried to also transform this word and say, and actually, let's not use this word because you're putting emphasis in the product, when in fact, a farmer is a guardian of the processes. A farmer is a steward of the land. And so, you know, in Spanish, we would use agricultor, which is a little bit closer to that word in English of farmer, steward of the land. And I also want to say, I think if there's one element to define CSA in all the forms that it can take, and in these ways that we have worked, like at Temple Wilton, on our farm, also in Granja Valle Pintado, in Patagonia, is sharing risk. Yeah, that today the plight of the farmer, the troubles that the farmer face, if they are alone, are the risks today, and the risks are ever higher, right? Due to social difficulties, the competitiveness of the market, climate change. So how can all of society now participate and share the risks with the farmer? I just wanted to add that to what has been said.
Oh, very important. Some years, you know, you have a very dry year, or you have an overly wet year. Some years you have an excellent overabundance harvest, and there were some very thin years, and people really stayed with it. They
Yeah. The metaphor we used
Very
was
loyal.
in the winter, the boat is at the port, and anybody can jump on and jump off if they will. But once we set out to sail, we're all on the boat together until next winter, when the boat sails back to port.
Well, our boat never really comes to full harbor.
Okay, got to jump ship.
No, we provide vegetables all through the winter because we have very good storage facilities. So in North America, we have things throughout the winter like onions and potatoes and carrots and parsnips and cabbage and kale and beets. Thinking what's in the farm store right now. Yeah, and squash, winter squash. So there are vegetables all year round, and there's milk all year round. We are not a seasonal CSA. That's very common, actually, that they have a CSA only for 12 weeks of the year, or that people, you know, that's the other thing that we didn't do. We didn't pack boxes. We didn't give people the same a number of vegetables or the same kinds of vegetables. I have a big mouth. I just said, I'm not packing boxes. I'm not doing that. I will not do that. We're not packing boxes. And besides, you don't like tomatoes and you don't like cabbage. And it was too silly. I saw situations where they would take their box out and then in the parking lot, they were trading food with each other. So we don't do that. We put the food out into the farm store 2 days a week on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and people come and they take what they want. Now, Anthony, the vegetable farmer, would write little notes everywhere. Only 2 cabbages per family this week. Or there's lots and lots of basil, please take lots and lots. So he would let people know what there was. But everyone would choose what they wanted to eat. And that's actually worked really well for us. And yes, they share the risk. Some years there was more of this and less of that. There's a German saying in English, it says, when my hay rots, my cabbage grows. So if it's a wet year, the hay is rotting, but the cabbage is really good. So it's helpful to have a nice range of things, so there's always something that works well. And some years it's not, you know, doesn't work so well. But every place will be different. Everyone has to sort it out. What works in their community, ecologically, but also socially. And get to know one another. What can we do? What do we want to do? Because you can do whatever you want. You know, we're all so used to being told that, you know, these are the conditions and you have to live this way or that way or only this way. But that's not actually true. If you can find a situation where you can have land given or someone buys it for the last time and puts it in a land trust, and then it's there for the community. And then you have to sort out, how can you do that together? Stephen, you want to say something?
Well, as we're coming toward the end of the hour, I wanted to go back, excuse me, to a word that we heard at the beginning, which was pioneer. And I think even at this stage, the farmers and the families that come together in a CSA are pioneering a model, and it's going to continue, I think, in the years ahead to develop and evolve. As Alice said, there's no one formula. If in fact one could say, what is the secret to a CSA? Well, I'm not sure there is one secret, but certainly community, drawing that community around the farm and getting them involved, as Alice was describing, is a key element, so that it really is a community farm and it's not just a marketing approach.
Yeah.
Very
Yes,
important.
that's nice, because it's a social art, like Alex says. Stephen, you and Troger wrote some problems that a prosumer or a stakeholder could have being a prosumer, and when I read it, I say it's like, oh, in the United States have the same problems that we have here in Argentina. So you say like a problem of a stakeholder could have is that they have to pay the dues in advance, or the farm give me a lot of food and I don't know what to do, or hey, I only get seasonal food. I want food in winter and I want a apple in winter, and or I don't have time to get involved with the community. So I don't want to be a prosumer. I think I want to go to the market and live my life more comfortably. So what can you say to that person that is thinking in that problems?
It's not for everyone. It's those who really, feel they want to do that. Just in the winter, as I'd said, we have these many vegetables, but you might want other things. Other people, some people gave more money in the summer months and less money in the winter months because they needed that extra money to go to the supermarket to buy their fruit. We've never really had that much fruit. Some apples, some pears, but not really everything that everyone wants. And we can't grow bananas and coffee and all those things. So it was Anthony, our vegetable farmer, also did the bookkeeping. He was okay with that as long as you knew what you wanted. And that's okay, I'm not going to pay as much in the winter months because I need that money for my household to go to the supermarket and buy other things that I want. There's no, it's whatever works. But if one talks to one another and says, this is what my life looks like, and this is what we think we can do, somehow you can make it work if you have the goodwill to try and work together. So, I mean, there's all kinds of ways of doing it. And it doesn't have to be this completely closed model like we had. So yeah, it's however you all can come together and see what you can do. But you need farmers that you know and have the skills, as Alex said, that's really important, and that you can trust. And the farmer has to have prosumers, as you call them, that they can trust, that really want this place and want to stand for it in one way or the other. So yeah, I wish you all the best. I'm very excited that you all are considering doing things in your neighborhood. I just, it gives me a real hope. You know, we read the newspapers, and the politics, especially in the United States at the moment, is so crazy that you think, oh my God, everything is falling apart. Well, yes, it is, but there are also some really good new things coming up. Regular human beings are talking to each other, are doing good things together. And that's so important. Never mind all this nonsense that's happening. We're the ones who build the future.
Sure. Stephen?
I was just trying to type into the chat. I don't think I sent it to the whole group, but the URL for the international CSA group, it's urgency.net, and that's spelled URGENCI.net. And they're based in France, but it's quite international. So you can check it out online. I don't know what materials they have in Espanol, but I would assume
Yeah, not with a Y, with an I, Stephen.
with an I at the end.
Yeah, it's interpreter Alex just wrote with a Y. It should be an I with a dot. Yeah, because you won't find it otherwise. All right. Yeah, there's lots of resources these days.
Yeah, and lots of variations on the CSA model. So I'm going to join Alice in wishing you all the best of luck. And like her, I feel encouraged and hopeful hearing what you're doing, and can only wish you the very best.
Okay, thank you for your experience. I want to close with a phrase that I read it in the book, that it says that CSA is like understanding nature in order to understand humans. That it's not about food, it's not about revolution, it's not about understanding nature, it's about understanding humans. So I read that and I say, okay, this is really important. We need to understand ourselves, and we need to transform the humanity to make a better place. So thank you for that message. It's great.
Muchas gracias.
Blessings.
Here in New Mexico, we say de nada. I don't know if that translates well into the Argentinian experience, but thank you very much. Muchas
Yeah.
gracias.
Okay, Alex, would you like to close the meeting with a
Yeah, I'd
message?
just like to say, for me, it comes kind of full circle to be able to sit down today with Stephen, with Alice, and really, it's been an honor. For me to be able to have this conversation, and look forward to seeing now that there's more material in Spanish too for Latin America, because really, you know, this book now in Spanish, I think Latin America needs solutions today with all the crises that it faces, social, environmental, and here is just a concrete solution, you know, and these days with climate change and all these things that we read, you know, we think, what can we do practically? And I think that this is one way that each one of us can do something concrete for the planet. Who is your farmer? Who's growing your food? You know, it's something so concrete and tangible. Start from there.
So Alex, do you know Bruno Falador? Do you know
I do,
Bruno?
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. All right, because
From
he can,
Brazil.
yeah, he's in Brazil. It's a different
Yeah.
language, I understand, but still, he's a good partner. He knows a lot about biodynamics, especially about compost. So he can be
Yes.
helpful. So yeah, I hope that you all have each other's, or there's a list somewhere of everyone's email address who got
Yes,
this.
we have it.
Good. That's really important that you stay in touch with each other. You know who to call on. Who are your friends and compatriots in this work? It
Yes.
starts slowly, but then it can get bigger in different places.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Okay. Thank you, Alice.
All
Thank you,
right, all the best,
Alex.
everybody.
And everybody. See you in the Granja Épicos if you want to come and visit us. Everyone here, we are in like 1 hour car from Buenos Aires. So
Okay.
yes, everybody who want to come and visit us is invited. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I would love that. Nice to see you, Stephen, with the sandias in the background. Fantastic. You
We
look
live
great.
right at the base of the mountains here.
Really? Oh, wonderful.
Adios.
Adios.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Cuando hacemos un seguimiento, otra charla.
You know.
Hmm.